that empty your mind, be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Birds and Bots podcast. This is episode 10. As you know, if you've listened to this, it's just me trying to figure out my life and get some people that I find really interesting, talk about where we're from, some of our background information, hobbies. And for those of you who've watched the last episode, I'm off in Israel right now for the New Year's. Today I'm here with some of my friends that I met on this trip. Today I'm here with my friends, two girls from Alberta, their sisters, Brittany and Brook Taylor, and one Israeli, Hadar Nachaisi. Nachaisi. Yes. So as usually I kind of help guide the thing where it goes. So I usually start off pretty easily. I'll start with Canadians here. You're from Alberta. Do you want to say where you guys are from, where you're born or raised and all that?
Well, we're born in Calgary, raised in Calgary, and pretty much Calgarians through and through.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice. And Hadar, you're an Israeli. Where are you from in Israel?
I'm from Badawī, like about 25 minutes from Tel Aviv, 30 minutes from Jerusalem.
Very nice, very nice. So we're all on this trip called Birthright, which I've now decided to, if anyone asks me what Taglit, no, that's not what I'm going to say. Taglit, which I'm going to start calling my ancestral gift instead of saying it my birthright, because again, that's so pretentious. What brought you guys here?
Me?
Yeah.
I just want to meet new friends and to have fun, that's all.
How did you... We're doing a podcast, by the way. Hey, Amit. Hey, Adon. Say hello to the internet.
Hey, internet. I'm in the elevator. Can you hear me?
Sweet. How did Brittany? Sorry, pause and restarted. So Brittany and Brook, how did you guys hear about Taglit?
Well, personally for me, I've had cousins that went, and it just kind of felt like the right thing to do. I had zero expectations. I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to be looking for, if I really even wanted to go. And now that we're coming to an end here, I feel like my life has completely changed now because of it, and I've met so many great people, and a bunch from Israel, a bunch from Ontario, and so it's been a really awesome experience.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and for me, my mom really pushed us to go. She really wanted us to engage in this free trip, as she kept saying. It's a free trip, you should go. And now that I'm reaching the end of the age limit that's allowed to go on this trip, I really wanted to go with my sister, so this was the last year I could go because I'm turning 27 in June.
Yeah.
And it's just like a really cool country, and I'm happy that I got the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. If you'd like to join the podcast with us, you can start by saying your name and say, hello, internet.
Okay, is it the podcast?
Yeah.
Nice. So, hi, I'm Adi.
Adi. Hi, Adi.
Yeah.
Your last name, Adi?
Adi Rosen.
Rosen?
Yeah.
Rosen. Where are you from exactly? Where were you born in Israel? We have another Israeli sitting down with us as well.
Yes.
Where are you? Yeah.
So I'm from Modi'in. It's a city between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and it's a nice place to live in. And for me, Birthright was so amazing and interesting to get to know you, to hear your stories and your path. And,
It's okay, I can noise them out in the background.
Right. So it was so interesting, and I think it was so important to me to get to know you. So yeah.
So here's the question I haven't really asked anyone. So since we're from Canada and I've learned about it, how well did you guys know about Birthright even before like joining along? Is it really noticeable that there's these international Americans and Canadians and Australians coming to your country on this thing often, or is it really sneaky?
My friends do it before, and they tell me, "Go, you're having fun. You meet some new friends." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. I'm too scared. I don't know anybody. I'm coming alone." And they said, "You're having fun. Trust me." And I'm like, "Okay, I trust you." And I just came in. I'm really having fun.
Well, I'm sure both of you guys could say how awesome having all of you Israelis here has been.
Yeah, it's been a way to really connect to, rather than just a tour and it feeling just like sightseeing. The Israelis brought more of a real life aspect to it, and it allowed us to connect with what a day-to-day life would be for them, and how all the similarities that we have together just is crazy.
Yeah.
They're also just really funny. Like I feel like we have a lot of this similar sense of humor, even though we're literally across the world. So it's been really fun. Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got a little background light stuff. Now I kind of talk about more like, so normally I'm in school with a lot of my other people on this podcast, so maybe I'll kind of talk about, have any of you guys gone to higher education? I know you two have and kind of are still in it. Are you going to school right now, Eddie?
Right now I'm in the army.
In the army?
In the army, yeah.
Okay. Is that a career path for life, or going to be General Eddie?
Okay, it's like, so each and every one of the students here after high school go to the army, and they do different things. Girls for 2 years and the boys for 3 years.
Okay.
And after that they're going to universities to study, and then
What do you want to
get their
study?
jobs. I want to study something like medicine.
Yeah, medicine. Do you want to
Yeah.
be a doctor or pharmaceutical?
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
So as we go around, so we'll do the conversation on what you guys are studying or not, and then I'll kind of see what kind of drove you to that. So we'll get a quick around what you guys are studying. Hadar, you just got out of the army, I remember hearing. And
Yeah.
are you going to school or planning on something like that?
Now I'm looking for a job.
Yeah,
I need
nice.
to earn some money for the studying. And now I'm doing nothing.
That's okay. So then, since you're working, what would you love to go to school for?
The same like Adi. I want to be a doctor. In the army, I was in the Ministry of Defense, and I was a medic. So
Very interesting.
Yeah, the same path.
So we've had so many medics on our trip, eh?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I'll completely flip the switch. I took finance in school. I went to school in Mississippi on a soccer scholarship.
Whoa.
And so, I don't know, I got into finance. I really like numbers. I like problem solving. I'm really not a big fan of body thing. Blood freaks me out. And so, finance was definitely my path.
That's so interesting. I'm surprised I haven't even found that out yet. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice. And Brooke, what are you studying?
So I went to school for accounting, like similarities here. I just didn't really know what I wanted to do in school. I started off in kinesiology, which is kind of like physiotherapy. I really wanted to be a gym teacher at first. Yeah, and then I realized that bio is really hard, so I went to accounting. But now I'm working in accounting, and I'm learning a lot about business and a lot about taxes and how to save rich people more money, which is pretty fun. And I'm working towards my designation, so hopefully when I'm done that, I can open a business one day.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. So then on this segment, and I'll swap around when I get to you guys, since you aren't going to school, but you kind of are planning in some idea of medical. And since we started with you, we'll start again backwards. So have you, since you're young, like this idea of finance, so I guess you switched midway through, do you find kind of passion in your job? Do you really like, what's like the light of finding accounting that's like cool to you? Maybe I'll start with my own, so I'll help you guys out. I actually am more involved in this, and I haven't been juggling right now. So
Don't worry.
so I'm studying. Okay, I'll restart this. I did it with the other group. So I have kind of a hierarchy of how I'm doing what I'm doing, and it kind of starts with when I was a kid. I've had a thing where I want to change the world, and that's kind of like my vision statement in my whole kind of life.
Nice.
And that vision statement moved down to I want to make people's lives better as more like the goal, and then that broke down to I went to university for history, and then kind of felt like this isn't really going to use it, but I thought education was there, so I moved into political science, because I think political science is the best way for the bang of the buck. You know, you set policies, bring people's better lives, and I find that, and luckily I found enjoyment in my degree as well. So that's kind of like how this pathway has worked for me. And in that kind of structure of, have you had something in your heart from youth at any age, from like 6 to 19, it hit you, and then that's kind of brought you to where you are?
For me, I don't know about 6, but about 8 to 19, I just wanted to play sports all the
That's
time.
perfect,
I just
yeah.
wanted to play every sport I could. So my one sport that I ended up playing was basketball. So really for me, when I was in high school, what took me to university was where I could play basketball. It didn't
Cool.
really matter what I was doing or where I was going.
You play basketball?
Yeah.
For the audience who doesn't know, she's like 6'2".
No, that's her.
me.
Oh.
I'm only 5'8".
okay.
So, yeah, so I just went to the first school. Well, I went to the school that offered me the best kind of deal.
Smart.
Yeah, and then I ended up hurting my knee, so I couldn't play anymore. And then that's when I had to find out what I wanted to do in school. And
Interesting.
accounting seemed like it would be the most secure place to get a job afterwards. So that's kind of why I chose accounting.
And then I guess, so it's part of this passion, so that's perfect. So then, since you have a secure job, which is kind of a wish for all of us too, we want that secure job. Is there like a hobby that's coming around that too that's like, luckily since you have a secure job, you really are getting into as well?
Yeah, well, not because
Do you want
of
to help
this-
other girls play sports? Do you want to like give back to community in that kind of sense? Or
Well, I joined the basketball team at work, and
Yeah.
we won a gold medal, so
Heck
that's pretty
yeah.
awesome. But honestly, just because I'm just a year in and I've been really focused on
Heck
me
yeah.
for CPA, I think when I'm done that, maybe something like that would
Yeah.
branch out from my passions from having a secure job. But now it's just nice having a job because you
That's
can
awesome.
do the things you want to do and have the money to do it.
Growing up a little bit too and all the
Yeah.
steps, it's really awesome.
Totally.
What about you, Brittany?
I know that we spend pretty much a majority of our life at work, especially for Canada. Like it's the right thing to do. You just go to university, you get a job, you retire. Like it's just kind of how it is. But I love outside of work.
Yeah, of
Like,
of course.
That's where all of my passions lie. I've been in sports my whole life, so the whole disciplinary go to work from this time to this time.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the people I work with, not
That's
necessarily the job as much. I like the job, don't get me wrong, but the passion more lies in the relationships I can build at work. And I've met some really cool people that I would never ever find myself in a relationship with outside of work because they're a little bit older. They've all had such different background, and the lady that trained me is turned 70 this year.
Oh.
So there was a huge contrast between 23
Yeah.
and 70. So it was really cool to get her perspective. And then now I've been working with another young guy at the company to try and make that job more efficient with technology that she's not really used to. So it's kind of cool to see that. It's not so much the job, but it's more the people.
This interaction there coming along with you. That's awesome. Hadar, so you're looking for work. I'll give you 2 questions you can look through. So one, you want to go to medical school possibly, or the other, you're looking for a job right now. So maybe if you could have any job in the world, they'll hire you right off the block. What would you love to do? Obviously, it might turn into medicine, might turn into something completely different, obviously. I'll give you both this question, actually. Or why medicine? Is that about helping people, or is it about, was there a moment in your life where you had a grandma sick, or a brother sick, or a sister sick, or, I'll let you pick one of those questions each.
I just want to have the ability to help some people that need my help. I don't want to look at people and like, I don't know how to help you. I want to help people. I want to do something that I love, because I think the job taking a big part of our life, so we have to do something that we love, something that give us the power to moving on, something to wake up in the morning and think, oh, this is going to be a good day.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that.
And the other question? No, I answered that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have to say, first of all, that it's so nice and interesting to see the differences and similarities between us and you, because I'm 20 years old, you too.
Yeah.
So and I'm in the army, and so after school we are going to for 2 years to the army, and you are starting to study, and so I think the army made us more mature, and so that
Definitely.
we could so that we could continue and study afterwards. And actually right now I'm going to a course, it's like medicine, it's for first medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, first aid. So so I'm like I just making a research. So
See if
that
you
I'll
like
see.
it.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
see if I like it. And first of all, yeah, I want to help people, and it's very interesting for me.
Yeah.
This whole section,
love
whole
that.
subject.
I have one topic in my head that I do want to say, but if we could do a thing. Does anyone have any topics that you might want to bring up? Talk about, ask each other, or just ask the group? I'll let you think about that.
I do, actually.
Actually, she's going right away.
Yeah,
And then we can see from there if that works for you guys, and you can have that in the back of your head thinking of a question you can ask us.
So you guys aren't the only two Israelis that I've heard that want to get into medicine. And so my question is it more of like a lifestyle thing that's brought you into medicine, or like for us, we don't really get exposed to it as much. We have so many opportunities to pick whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that ability to pick whatever you want to do, or are you exposed to medicine through like your parents, or like what is that?
Okay, so I'm living in Berakov, and 3 years ago we didn't have a high school, so we need to choose I don't know how to say it, the subject of the school or the lessons you want to learn. So we have they give us a book with the name of schools, and you need to choose one that you feel that you are connected to their classes. And I see like medicine, and I like, okay, it sounds nice. I don't know, I'm not sure, because all my friends go to the same school, and I'm like, I'm alone, but I think I love it. So I go, and the first day we have a surgery of a heart, of big heart.
Ooh.
And it was so nice, and I feel so connected to this. So this is the reason I'm moving on with the same.
I hope that this experience, I think you said it, we had a campfire just before this, talking in a round circle kind of thing, and Hadar said that she was nervous about this trip because she knew there wasn't anyone on it. That's not your exact wordings, but that you were so glad you came on and met all these people along this way. And I hope that experience of just being on a trip or a new school with people that aren't, maybe if you go to another school that your friends aren't on, you still might make these kind of same relationships, because that's what university has definitely done to me. I don't know about you, Brittany or Brooke, but like I didn't really know anyone except for one person at my university, and I have blossomed with different people from around my country and around the world. So I hope that comes out. I know that because this will be part of the next segment. Hadar is one of the funniest Israelis I've met here so far. And when she gets going, it's just rolling. And
By far.
It'll be part of the next segment that I'll bring up. But yeah, back to the medicine question. How about you, Eddie?
Yeah, so I do think we have very expanded subjects to do, and we can choose whatever we want. Yes, of course. I think the one thing I think that we both of us share is that we're so thrilled to to see stuff that connects with medicine, and it's so interesting, and we want to help people. And yeah, it's that's it.
Sorry, I have one last question about it.
Heck yeah, no, it's all good.
Is it easy to switch once you're already, because I know you said you have to pick something to go to school for medicine. Let's say you go there for a year and you're like, I hate this, I want to
No.
switch. You
No.
can't?
You're in.
You can switch a lessons that you learned in this school, but you have to stay in the same school.
Wow. So for us, like Brooke switched from what was it?
Kinesiology.
Kinesiology to accounting, like completely different schools. That's crazy.
Even field within the school too.
Yeah.
You can change the subjects, and
Like doctor
most of
to
people, most of
Nurse.
people that wants to go to medicine can change it on the way to something else that connects to medicine. There are so many subjects and jobs that has the same ideas, and so yeah, you can change. And if I would change, I think I'll go to something similar. Yeah.
Brooke,
I
you
just
have-
have one question that people at home might want to know is, I have two friends in med school, and it's 8 to 10 years to get it. Is that the same here to be a doctor?
No, it's 7
7
years.
years.
Okay.
Okay.
So similar.
Yeah.
Does that include one of the big things that we're not extending on is that we have an RN. So when you finish school, then you go be a doctor, and that adds to like the 10 years. So do you have 10 years, 7 years of school, and then you have to, then you go train as a
Is
basic
all
doctor?
of your learning like in the
I think
classroom?
it's included. I think
Okay, so it is included.
Okay.
That's an important
Yeah.
thing too for yeah. Cool. Do any of you have a thought question for the group as well?
I don't have any question.
That's okay.
But
Yeah.
no, but
Wait.
it's very no. I just want to say that it's really different that we are going to army after school and you. I don't know.
It's very different.
Yeah.
We take a year off a lot of the times. I went to school for a year for business school. I hated it. Dropped out. Just worked for 40 hours. Hated that, and then went back to school. So
Yeah,
that was-
like
I had 2 years. But yeah. No, go ahead.
My struggles after high school were what university do I want to go to? Didn't even think that about any of those real life things. I was like, oh, well, I could go here because it's nice weather, or I could go here because they have a good soccer team, or I'm so luxurious to pick what school I get to go to. And here you guys like have to pick at such a young age. Like I felt like I've gone through a bunch of career changes within the 4 years I was even at school.
Yeah.
Another thing I've noticed is for us, like when you first meet someone, Kate, what did you do in school? What school do you go to? What university are you in? When we talk to you guys, it's always, oh no, we're in the army. I'm in this base, that base. So it's the same dialogue, just different subjects. You know what I mean? Like you talk, it's kind of the same, but
Yeah.
Same but different.
yeah.
I can say that lots of Israelis after the army they like go to long trips around, to travel around the world.
So
They experience new things and have time to think and to understand what they want, and then they pick their subject for the future.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
That is really interesting.
It's pretty crazy how few, I guess because the shekel conversion rate, I've never met an Israeli. Have you guys met Israelis before?
No.
Yeah, they're not in Canada. I mean, people from all over, like, but I haven't met an Israeli. It's really interesting on this. No. Cool. Well, then my next segment in the back of my head, the reason I got the two of you and I asked you guys to pick, you guys have been like this lovely energy I've had on this trip so far. Like both of you guys have just pumped me up in a lot of awesome ways, and maybe it's because we had a connection already, because like you already know Bailey and you also know my friend well, you know her, the married, but I mean like just weird, but I don't know, you guys have just always been laughing and like meeting other people at the groups. I can hear you guys, I know I have the laugh that bustles out, so like you guys have the laughs and you guys are just enjoying that kind of energy. I haven't hung out with you as much, but that's where I'm glad you came on too. But Hadar here has been, well, she's a little shy, she's a little camera shy without camera. Hadar is hilarious once you get to know her, joking around all this stuff, singing out with everybody, you know. And I'm gonna let you guys go for her because I haven't hung out with you too much, sadly enough. But I know you guys probably hung out with her too much, because give her a shout out, please.
Oh, I definitely have. Addie and I went on a little hunt there for New Year's Eve to try and find a place to go, and it was
funny.
It was funny. It's just so cool. Everyone's like energy is really high, and I feel like Addie, at least when we were going, she kind of had to explain to me everything she was doing, because I was like, oh wait, so what did he say? But I'm just there, and she just made it seem like, made me feel really part of it.
Yeah.
And I don't even, there's such a language barrier, but like it doesn't really affect you that much when you have good energy and good vibes from people.
You just know how to have fun.
Yeah. And that's kind of like a prompt to anyone who's listening to this. My podcast listeners definitely don't listen this long, so we can kind of end pretty soon.
Okay.
They're terrible like that. But for anyone who is listening this far, Israel is an amazing country.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pretty cheap country. You're probably getting $2 per every dollar Canadian for anyone who's from Canada listening to this. So it's a good place to come hang out. It's beautiful weather. It's Mediterranean, but also a little deserty. You know, the food is fantastic. Falafel, the shawarma, the hummus. You know, even French cafes in Tel Aviv. Now it's usually around. I go around. Some of you guys haven't ever heard of a podcast. Some of you, have you heard of a podcast before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear
Today
it
is
a lot.
my first
time hearing about a podcast.
I hear
know.
it so podcast is amazing.
Yeah, it's
I love
fantastic.
it. Yeah.
So then usually around the end of the segment, I kind of ask, Since I'm not like some famous person, I'm not going to be getting famous people into my podcast. What kind of cool information questions would you be interested in hearing if you heard on this podcast? What things can you think of that'd be cool that you wish you could hear on a podcast, or just from strangers? I try and get a lot of internationals from Uganda to Zambia to Zimbabwe from France, and I've got a lot of people all around the country and First Nations on my podcast. So what kind of weird, interesting questions would you like to hear on shows like this? And I'll let you guys think. Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to hear like the contrast of, especially university students, what university life is like in Canada compared to where they're from, or what their living is like their living style, from where they're from and where they are in Canada. Yeah, everything like that.
Yeah,
Just like the contrast is really cool. I like hearing about how different we all are, but we all just kind of have the same common goal, which is to be loved and give out love to everyone else.
I think like people who have story, or like authors, yeah.
Authors? Ethics?
Authors, yeah.
Okay.
Like book
that
authors,
yeah,
Okay.
book authors that can,
okay.
that can tell and like more.
Like how Jesse's a great storyteller.
To say there, to let us know from their knowledge, and it can be interesting to hear things that they know and they can share with us.
Is there any thoughts?
I'm sorry for my English. I'm so sorry for my English.
I'm probably going to take that in a minute too. I'm going to take that one so far, but do you have any thoughts on that, Hadar? Think about when you go to the gym, you can listen to this when you go to the gym, pumping iron, Hadar, like, just listen to people talk, you know? That's okay. Do you have anything, Brittany? Did we go through you?
I've been to a bunch of different countries, and I've seen a bunch of different people, and like Brooke said, of sharing the common goal of being loved and giving love.
Yeah.
I've definitely noticed that. I guess this isn't really a question as it is a statement, but I've seen pretty low of the low when I went to Haiti, and I felt that was like almost better energy than when I was in like a very rich area of Canada or in America or even London. I just feel like no matter where you are, I feel like the people that are broken down more come together a lot more. So it's really cool that you've gotten different perspectives of different cultures when everyone shares that same common goal and lifting each other up.
I mean, look at the Israelis in their own sense. I mean, you guys have gone through wars, civil wars. I am not going to put any stake on the Palestine and Israeli crisis, but there has been deaths on both sides, and that is crisis that you've had to push through. I'm not saying any right or wrong on this, because that's not where this podcast is going, but you have to suffer, and because of that, you guys are some of the most cheerful people through. I think on our trip, we had all of the Israeli, I think through like maybe one or two, we had a moment where they said they weren't affected by terror attacks, but you're still laughing with us and coming out and enjoying that. So I agree with what you're saying, that sometimes hardships, the people who've done the hardships have some of the hardiest laughs as well.
Exactly.
You know. If you don't have a question, I will pop one for the next question, which I loved what you said too, and I think I'm probably gonna try and take that. I'm gonna pause in a moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna pause in a moment for another think second, but if you had a story or a thought or something in your life, what would you like to share with someone? Like a moment in your life that part of who you are, a philosophy that's really affected you and you'd like to impart into others. And sometimes you say that to yourself in the washroom, like, oh, why can't they do this? And I'm gonna pause. It's been instantaneous because I just unpaused for anyone who wasn't listening. But yeah, so where you're gonna answer, how will you tell me what you're answering? Because then maybe you can. I'm mumbling on what my idea is on what this is.
So mostly, Mike, you've asked us to give a philosophy, a story, something that makes us us, and that hopefully can impact somebody else out there that's listening that might have the same perspective as us. So I know that it's going against the norm a lot to not work in your passion. It's something that is completely my own perspective. A lot of people always want to do what they do for work, what they're passionate about, but one of my really big passions is volunteering. And like my social aspect, so I absolutely put equal to as much as I do on my family as I do as my friends, because they're very much important to me, and I do some volunteering outside of work, and I don't even have a problem going to work every day because I'm still waking up to do the things I love and be with the people I like. And even though my day usually of those things that I love to do don't start until 4 p.m., it still really gets me excited for the day. And I know that that might be a little bit different than the norm. So I just wanted to share that.
No, I love that. I don't think people talk about that enough, that we don't have to pursue our passion. And I think that's what comes off because, you know, you're pursuing a job that makes money and you can pursue your life.
And if it's, sorry, I know that I've been talking a while, but
okay.
Like a really relatable example to that was I've played soccer my whole life. It was my passion until I went to university and it started to become my job. And I was forced to do it, all these things, and now I'm stuck with, well, not stuck with, but I've made that decision to stop playing soccer because it doesn't have a place in my heart as much as it did before by pursuing it to that extent that I did playing Div 1 soccer. So I just really like to keep that in perspective.
Yeah. Hadar, in short, it's sweet. We love it either way.
Okay, I just wanted to say, never afraid to try some new things in life. I think that if I give up on things like birthright because I'm afraid, so I lose so many things, and take a courage, I think.
Yeah.
And try new things.
Like what's his name who said that yesterday? We went to the Perez Center. It takes, there's on the video we watched today, the courage is being afraid and doing it anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna snowball off of both of those, and my biggest passion in life is honestly like making sure everyone else around is having fun and feeling included. And like Brittany said, our friends mean a lot to us, so I do put just as much effort in with my friends as my family too. And just making sure that, like, if you always have in the back of your mind that honestly the only thing anyone really wants in life is to feel loved and accepted. So if you can do that to someone who might not normally be loved and accepted, it's something really important to our friend group at home. And it's a whole bunch of misfits that now have the best friend group, and if you can just do that everywhere, it's really good.
That's lovely. I'm glad I had you guys on it. Hadar, that was beautiful. It's true. I can see you right now. You're pushing through the fear of this, and I am loving you for it so much. You know, Brittany, that was awesome. You know, it's true that we need to not be so trapped in this idea, especially in the West. I mean, maybe you guys have it better out here where you're kind of finding your job, which is good. But in the West, we're getting this liberal bullshit where it's just find your passion and you'll follow along. That's so not always true. And you know, sometimes, you know, there's outcasts, and just because you're an outcast doesn't mean you're alone, because you're definitely not alone.
Exactly.
And you know, try and be that open heart, because that can bring so much to it all.
Yeah.
And okay, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of the Birds and Bots episode number 10. This will be posted as soon as I get back to Canada in a couple days, but I hope everyone had a really good time listening to Addie, Hadar, Brittany, and Brooke, and me, and have a lovely New Year's, everybody.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.